Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the CreatorSpace online workshop. So we're continuing our Blender 3D animation tutorial, and with Leon. So this is part 2, and if you are joining us, that means you have the online ticket, and on the Eventbrite link, we have links to part 1. And every time you join us, I've put the links for the past workshops, so you can catch up. If you haven't seen part 1, stay with us, go through this, and then you can go back and watch part 1, part 2, and Leon's going to take us through basically a whole project that we'll finish by the end of June. So it's lots of time to work on stuff, and next session, April 16th, we're going to have some a tutorial, plus then we'll have a Google Meet a time where you can ask Leon questions, you can share what you've been doing, and we're hoping that we'll have that great interaction with everyone as well. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. In terms of the workshop, just want to thank all our partners: Canada Council for the Arts. Then we have our library partners: Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. And at these places, you can access the iMacs. So we have our digital arts computers. You can access the iMacs where we put Blender on it. So if you don't have a computer, you can just go back there. If, let's say, you're joining us with an iPad or something today, or a phone, you can go to the libraries and then you can do your project there on those computers. So we have everyone covered, lots of access. There's, in total now we have 8 computers at all the libraries, 2 at each one, 4 at Collingwood. So really, really excited to have all of this access. So yeah, and then what is Blender? So it's totally free. You can download it, blender.org. And if you don't have it yet, make sure you get that going. Otherwise, again, you can just go to the library and get the software there. So let's continue. And I'm going to throw it over to Leon. And here's Leon. He's going to take you on today's tutorial. Here we go, Leon.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Yeah, so like Tom says, Blender is a free program. You can download it from the internet. It's totally free, and you can start working on it and create all the stuff that you want to do. So right now we are going to go in more learning about modeling using sculpting. So last workshop, I think we were working about just a tiny bit of sculpting with the egg, and doing the rigging and the what do you call it, the vertex paint, and doing the painting on it. So that's just give you introductions to a different way of doing modeling. So right now we are going to model a character. So this is the bunny that I created for this workshop here. And we are going to sculpt this bunny using the sculpting tool from Blender. And sculpting is, like you said, is sculpting like you're sculpting a statue or with clay. In this case, it's more like a clay. So you're sculpting using clay, and then doing it inside this Blender program. For those of you that's a little bit familiar with it, that's you might actually this is just another way of doing modeling, and depending on what you like to do and how you like your process of doing the modeling, and this might be the one that you like to do, like the one that you like to use in order to modeling. And some people might not like using this and just using the old method, just manipulating vertex points to create the character. Either way, like both of them are valid, and both of them are like just options for you to use. And but right now, my goal is to just give you different options so you can pick and choose yourself which one do you like to know how to use best for your workflow. All right, let's get into it. And yeah, this whole theme of the project is Easter Bunny and Easter egg. So this is I create this model and doing the sculpting, and then I once you've done the sculpting, you will want to wrap it and make it into a low poly character, because once you're done sculpting, your polygon views, your triangle numbers is will be insane. That will be like in millions, and you generally don't want that um, to be your final image, because in order to render that, that's just gonna take a long time to render a final image. So once you start finish sculpting, you wanna create low poly to wrap around the sculpting to create a much more simplified polygons polygon view of your character, and you can still retain the same look, but it's just like a much more easier for the computer to render your character once you're ready to finish and to animate and stuff like that. We'll go through that. For today, I think I'm just going to be able to give you a whole idea of the process, just sculpting the head of um, the bunny, because I don't think we're gonna have time to finish sculpting the whole body and like and get ready. And then next workshop will work on trying to create the low poly versions of it, so we can paint it and then we can start get everything together and then rig it and then start animating it. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, first thing I want to do is I'm gonna open a new file in general, and the general file you can open it like that. Or if you know that you're gonna be working with sculpting, Blender has an option here for sculpting. If you go to File, New, you go sculpting here. Blender will give you uh, an object ready to be sculpted. What's the difference between? Uh, Let me just try this. Okay, so this, if you go to object mode, you can see like there's a very, this is basically a cube, but it has been subdivided so many times, it's becoming very smooth and it's actually becoming like a ball. And this is a perfect um, object for you to start sculpting right away, right? But since our characters are very simple, I like to not use this. Like, but you can definitely start using this. But the way I like to do it, I like to have a combination between sculpting and like just a old way of modeling. So I'm going to open just a general view, and I'm going to delete this, the camera and the light. And first thing, I'm going to join this area down. So I'm just going to get rid of that timeline. And this cube here, I'm going to add a modifier, subdivision service, and I'm going to put it to 3, right? And you get a very good subdivision service there, right? And perfect for start modeling. You can start with 3 or 4, it doesn't matter, but in this case, you can start with 3. Once you're done, I want you to apply it. And now you can, now your cube is becoming semi kind of like a circle, right? Now we're gonna start sculpting using this. Oh, before we move on, I like to sculpt using a tablet. So I recommended that you get some kind of a tablet. It doesn't have to be as big as mine, right? So it doesn't have to be a big tablet. You can have a small tablet and work just fine. So yeah, it's really up to your preference. So let's start that. And The next thing we want to do is we want to have our reference picture. So if you want to create add and then go to, where is that? You go to image and then you want to go reference, right? And then you want to go to get your reference there. This is the image that I created. Okay, let's try that again. Image, reference, there. So in the front view, so I'm just gonna bring this down, back. So if you hide that, the ball, this is my reference here, right? I just make a quick sketch, and then I'm going to add another reference, the same image, but on a side view. This is usually enough for me to um, work between this two image. And then I'm gonna bring it in the y-axis. All right, so most of the time, when you're modeling something from a 2D images, you probably don't have like a full rotation of a character, right? If you're working on a full productions, they might have like the full 2D rotation of a character that you can use as a reference. But generally, um, when you're working on your own or you're working for a small company, you probably only have like one or two view from the drawing. So you kind of have to use your judgment as an artist to create that. That will develop as you work more in modeling. So uh, for this case here, I just use front view and three-quarter view for me to. I don't really bother with side view, but now next thing we know we're going to do is if you go to object mode on the top left here, there's an option for sculpt mode, right? This is the options that will give you all the options for sculpting, right? So let's look at the reference, and I would see that the image of the it's a little bit kind of like an oval, so I'm gonna make that uh, first. So, so I'm probably going for the side view here, and then I'm going to go to grab here on the left side here, the brush for grabbing. So once I have that, I'm going to increase the grab. And then I'm gonna pull out to look. To get. Now you can, if you go to the right here to your properties panel, at the very top here, you have the options for your brush. You can get the strength up to like 1, or you go like half. I think half for me is good, and you can change the radius here, or the shortcut key is like I'm not sure why. Oh, did I? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. The shortcut key is for enlarging like the circle. As you see, there's two circles in there. The outer circle is the brush, and the middle circle is your strength. So the middle circle, like whatever in that circle, is the amount of vertice that will be affected when you're trying to pull or do you're gonna manipulate it. But if you go up like higher in your strengths, as you can see, the middle circle is getting bigger. So it manipulated a larger area of your object. So let's go down to 0.5. Just try to get the look from the side, and then once I'm happy with it, I'm going to the front view, and I'm going to the top here. There is a symmetry, and you want to, if you symmetrize and minus x plus 1, basically, I'm going to use this side here, and then I want this side to look exactly the same like the one on the right here. So let's do that, symmetry. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong side. Go x to minus x, plus x to minus x. Symmetry. There you go. Now, next I want to do is I'm going to symmetrize in x-axis here. So that means whatever I'm manipulating here, it will be following on the other side of the characters. All right. So this is really good. And then y, I don't need y, just x. And I'm gonna make the bunny, I'm gonna just manipulate it more. So it's kind of like an angle like that. And the next thing you want to check is you want to look around in the 3D view. Okay, so I like to have it not in perspective view right now, because in perspective you can see your um, you can see like the perspective point, and basically uh, as you go to the horizon, it's getting thinner, right? But while I'm modeling, I like it to see a full without any perspective view at all. So if you press 5 in numpad, that will just make everything just well, in not in perspective view. So if you rotate, it looks similar in any way. But eventually, once you're happy with what you're doing, you need to check it in perspective view, because obviously that's where your final product's going to look like. But at the beginning, you definitely want to just use a normal 2D look of it. Say, okay. Make this closer. I think this is good. I like that. Mm. All right. Go to object mode. You can have it in shade smooth, so you don't really see. And then what I want to do next is to go to matte cap on the side here, the shading, and then I like this the studio. There's many different variety here that you can check, right? But for sculpting, I like to use the clay or the basic here. I usually like use the clay color. It just give you a more yeah. And, let's go back to sculpt mode. It's as you can see, I'm only just using one brush at the moment. It's just like the what do you call it again? The grab brush here. Is sculpting, you generally don't use a lot of brush in order to get what you want. The brush that this is probably good to for you to write it down. If you this is the brush that I use mostly when I'm sculpting. Is grab, smooth brush, right? And then I'm in the sharp, draw, and crease. And another one is to help once you go to detail is clay and clay strips. That's pretty much the brush that I'm using to do sculpting. To get any basic sculpting, that those brush will be great for you to start sculpting. All right, so I think that's decent enough. I think we should continue on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new object, okay? And I'm going to make a cube, and I'm going to scale it. I'm going to make the ear, one of the ear for the bunny. And basically, what I'm doing is just shape the ear in a more to get the shape of the ears first in using the basic modeling. So scale Z, scale Y, scale X. All right. So it's gonna, and then I'm going to edit mode, and then I'm going to right click, subdivide, and I'm gonna probably subdivide, yeah, two cuts will be good. All right, let's go with that. Oops. And we'll just try to so I'm gonna have subdivided again. Gonna open that. All right. So, that's, I think that's good. Let's go to, I'm just zooming in there. Go to the side here. Don't worry about like getting to details on this. Just maybe. Oops. Okay. I'm going to have this out. Scale X. All right. So I think that's good. Now, next thing we want to do is to go to sculpt mode. And this is where we're going to use dynamic topology. Just check mark here and say vertex detected. So you press OK. So what's dynamic topology? Dynamic topology is, or din topo, they call it, is essentially to help you with the flow of um, sculpting. You you can add volume and like a polygon and vertex as you're sculpting in order for you to just have it a more natural way of sculpting. Because right now, without dynamic topology, when I'm sculpting, I'm gonna go back to object mode here. So let's go back. Okay. So this is the amount of polygon we have, right? And without dynamic topology, you will only be able to manipulate this amount of vertices, like, or polygon that you have, right? Nothing will change. It's just a normal, just moving the same, like the same thing, like how you move vertex, except that you're using a sculpting tool to do that. Now, with with the DIN topo, dynamic topology, you are able to subdivide this polygon, this object, as you paint and sculpt in real time. So by the time you finish using dynamic topology sculpting, your your polygon will not be looking like this, right? It will be looking very, very different, and a lot more subdivide polygons in here. So that's why you need to, after you're done sculpting, you need to wrap your object and making it a low poly, because as you sculpt, you just keep adding informations into it and to get more details. The good thing about dynamic topology is if you want to sculpt a very detailed um, character or object or anything like that, you can do it like really well, right? You can get a very, very realistic model by using sculpting, right? You can get the crease of the face of somebody else. You can even have like pockmark, everything like detail like sculpting, right? But the bad thing is, in order to get all those details, is you're having a lot of polygons. You'll have a lot of triangles that will slow down your computer. The more you're adding it, the more processing power your computer needed. So that's why you need to be mindful when you're sculpting, so you don't really uh, put a lot of burden in your computer. But if you have a very good computer, you probably don't have to worry about it. But for most people that doesn't have the a good computer, they need to be mindful of adding topology. All right. So let's go back to sculpt mode, dynamic topology, and I want a relative detail, and then I want to go smooth shading. Uh, the detail size, basically 12 pixels is the more detail it is, the smaller the pixel number. Okay, so I start with 8 for now, and just go with that. And I'm gonna have I'm gonna add a, see if I can get a crease, get the inside there, not the crease, sorry, like you want to scrape it. Just get go, scrape that. And go to, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna crease it. Subtract. It's good. Maybe scrape again. All right. Let's scrape the side here. Smooth it. All right, so and so you want to scrape it again. Basically, I'm just see if I can get the it's how you're scraping the clay in real life. So, and you just want to smooth that, smooth the sides, and then I want to add some clay just to add more information on the top here. And now it's just a matter of cleaning the getting the shape that you need it to do, right? And it's starting to resemble something. It's starting to resemble the ears there, so that's good. And then I want to probably inflate this area here. Maybe adding a blob, probably better. Yeah. And then so just smooth. Just use a lot of smooth brush. And I'm going to use a clay strip. bottom here. Oops, clear mask. That's a mess. Don't want a mess. Oops. Oops. Add a blob. This is why it's good to use a tablet to do this. Is now just and it's easier to do it with using a tablet um, instead of a mouse. So I'm gonna use the crease here. I'm gonna make some kind of make more crease. Let's see. Oops. See if I can get it that way. Probably yeah, I like this one better. Let's give you a better look. So maybe we'll use a hook, a snake hook. A snake hook is the difference between a grab is you can just grab normally. The snake hook you can grab and then turn you want it to. So you can give a better the warm options for you to do. And so I'm just gonna do a crease here. Sorry. I need to get a strong crease here. Scrape. All right, so it's all a matter of trying to get oops. So I'm gonna go down more now that we're gonna go details on that. It's probably 3. Okay, now we're starting to have a problem with the mesh here. I'm gonna try to remesh it and then go back to then topo. Or maybe just put a 5 here. It's really tricky to get this. So you just play around with it, and then the more you play around with it, the more you'll get the hang of it. And let's choose bracket. So bring it down. All right. So subtract. This is going to subtract. Scrape again. So, so let's add, bring it down. Get a snake hook. Bring this. And grab it. Just grab this. Inside. And voila. I think that's good, right? Gonna smooth that a little bit more. Round it up on the top. There's a bit more. Like hook this in the middle, bring this forward. All right. Okay, that's pretty decent. You can always try to make it the closest that you want it to be, or like you can keep working on it until you get the shape that you're really satisfied with. Okay, all right. So let's not spend too much time on there. I think I've spent a little bit more time than I was hoping for. Okay, so this is good. So you get the ears here. So let's go back to object mode, and I will tell you what I mean. If you go to edit mode, as you can see, this is very there's so many vertices here that you probably don't want to render that uh, this object because it's just going to take a long time to render. All right, so that's okay. That's we'll fix that later on. But right now, what we want to do is we go to modifier, we go to mirror, and then you want to mirror object here, and then you want to choose there. You got two ears of the body. So now we're just gonna do. Now the next thing we want to do is to combine the ears and apply this. Right. So I want to click on the head, and then I want to create boolean, and I want to click union, and then the object is cube one, and then go apply. Okay. So let's hide this. It create another object with the combine. As you can see, the ears there, but the other one is combined. So let's hide the other ears. So this is just becoming one single mesh now. So if you go to edit mode, it's all connected there, right? So again, we can go back to sculpt mode, and then we can go to smooth, and then just smooth the area around this where the connections between. Obviously, you probably need a topo for this, right? And then just smooth the area. Using a smooth brush, and then just then do a scrape. Again, just smooth, scrape, or pinch. Just play with that. There you go. You got one single object. All right, so uh, I think that's good for now. I think the ears can be we can fix the head a little bit more in ratio with the ears, but that's a good start for um, try to get the objects that you want to do for your model for sculpting. And this we cannot try do a, I will not do the body because it's just gonna be the same process for you to do it, like how to do sculpting. It's just the same thing using the you make the model with a low poly and then you just create it into like and then sculpt it and then with the dynamic topology and it's the same process and the same workflow as we created the head. So so I'm not gonna go more detail on creating the body. I think you can try to uh, take what you learn from creating the head and then apply it when you're sculpting the body. But if you do have any problem with it, and if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can, or like as best as I can. And yeah, so like I'm looking forward to see what you guys created the next time we meet. So it doesn't have to be a bunny. You can create your own characters. Like, but I suggest to create it a very simple character first, and then we'll get more details as we go along. All right. Thank you very much for coming today, and I appreciate that you take your time to come to the class and learn Blender with me. And so I hope what you learned today will help you to start sculpting in Blender. Yeah. So thanks again. Then I'll see you on April 16th. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Leon. Yeah, so April 16th, as Leon said, that is the next session. So there'll be another tutorial. Leon will continue where he left off today, and then we'll have that interactive Google Meet, like the room, the space, where you can then really share, ask some questions, anything that you want to do with trying to share, and we want to share what everyone's doing so that we can get a good idea of what we can also offer in the next tutorials after that. So if there's really something that everyone's struggling with, Leon can see that and then address that too, right, as we go. So it's a great opportunity for that. So yeah, make sure you sign up for parts 3. There's 3, 4, and 5 all the way through June, and then there's 2 of these interactive sessions. So April 16th and then June 25th is the last one. So go to our website, tbmcs.ca, sign up for all of these sessions so you can experience the whole process, and you'll finish with a short animated video at the end of this with Leon. So again, thanks to all our partners in making this project happen, Canada Council for the Arts, and our library partners where you can access the digital arts computers and Blender software. So it's the Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, and Wasaga Beach Public Library. Thanks again, and we'll see you April 16th. Take care.